Hello people, and welcome to what is going to be a little tutorial on how to make a Pinavia Interchange in the new City Skylines 2. All credit is going to go to HK City Skylines here on YouTube. He is the one who made the initial Pinavia Interchange for City Skylines 1 that inspired me to do this one. But as you know, units and measurements change between the two games, so I thought, I'm going to make the new one. And this is one that works for me. You can, at some points, just change out what you feel like needs to be changed. But I know this works, and that's what we're going to work with in this video. So let me show you. What we're going to start with is just a normal 2-lane road. There are no add-ons, by the way, here. Or I do have mods, but it's not mod dependent, so you can make this completely vanilla. But yeah, let's take the 2-lane road completely normal and make a square that is 112 by 112, just sort of roughly. Go like this, like this, like this. Then you want to come in and you want to grab and make sure the pointer is in the cross, or makes a cross, and the same here, makes a cross again. Place that. Then you want to come out here and you want to make this distance 224 meters. Place that. Then you're gonna make at this end point here, just so the blue circle kind of touches the end of the road, a small piece of road. It's just a guideline. And the same here, where the inner circle also touches the zones. Again, just a small piece of road. And then you can delete all this. Because what we're gonna work with are these two guideline roads. Now, to get an idea on what this means for your start, this one here will be the direction for the roads coming out. So if you have a layout like this, know that your highway is around here and swing this way or this way. So yeah. And that means initially place your square so it fits your needs, if you get what I mean. No, we have these two guideline roads, so what you want to do now is go to highways. You want to grab the 1-lane highway road, and you want to replace this one. That was the second one we made. Just keep it in the middle. And then you're going to make additional 4 right next to it. I'm going to make sure we have all snapping turned on here. And kinda, if you can't place it because you don't want a huge gap, you don't want them to be too far away. So if you can't get a placement roughly in between these, just place it. And then with replace turned on and snapping turned off, you can slide the road to the side. And you can do this several times. So slide and then slide more. And I find this distance is roughly what I need, or what we need for this. So we do 3 more. Just place this. And you don't have to move them right away. You can just place them and then move them. And kind of get the same distance all the way. I find this looks nice. This looks nice. Doesn't have to be perfect, Just have fun. And this, I think this might be slightly too close, like this. So, this is your initial layout. And now we're going to start the Pinavia. So you're going to keep this one lane highway. And you're going to grab the simple curve. We're going to work in 12.5 meters height. And make sure that your left line here lines up with this road. And also that you're lining up with the middle of this guide road down here. Like so. Now, you want to make a stretch of road that is 112 meters. And then click to start the curve and go 112 meters once more. There. So now we have this. At this point, I would advise to delete this one. Otherwise, it's going to make some annoying guidelines along the way. So in initial HK City's Skylines design, he would do a straight road from this point, and then he would go like, I think it was 32 meters down, and then he would go to the side to make an additional guide point. And that is because the road he's then going to make later on will end up roughly like this. But I had trouble doing it this way with this design in the new game, so I decided to skip that little thing. So instead we're gonna find this cross, like a flat cross. We're gonna start the road, and we're gonna go out to 112, like that, keeping the 90-degree angle at the top, placing it. This is gonna be our guide road for where we start the additional roads. So we go back down to 0 meters, turn off snapping, keep guidelines, keep 90 degrees, and slide it in. And get a distance that feels right for you. Don't want to put it too close, because that's going to give you all sorts of problems when you're going to start making turns. So roughly like this. And then I found out from previous builds that I like to place it, turn off guidelines by the way, keep the 90-degree angle, but I like to keep it around 115. And then you just make another road here, roughly the same distance or spacing. Turn off the guidelines again, go to 115. Place. Now to do yourself a favor, because otherwise, at least in the old city Skylines, it was such a hassle sometimes to flip the roads. So what you want to do now is replace, but keep the snapping on, because then you don't move the road, you're just going to flip the direction when you click and drag. Good. Now we need to place 2 more roads here. On the right side of the guide road, we're going to turn on guidelines, and in this case it's going to be a problem later on, but in this first one it won't be. So you can see I can still slide it, but once you start making more and more segments to this Pinavia, it's going to create so many guidelines that's going to confuse this point. So yeah, I'll show you once we get to that time. But for now, just slide it out roughly the same distance or whatever you like, and just make a small piece of road and make a friend for it right here. I feel like this maybe. Yeah, that's fine. These are serving as endpoints for the road we're gonna make that starts up here. You can click this off just to, I like to have as little as possible clicked on. Find this spot here, you can see it snaps out. I just go in, and that's where I start. And now drag the road down so you get 90 degrees at the top, but you also meet up with the guideline from this road. And then you go to 0 meters height. Oh, and remember, I always forget this, use simple curve. So click that on, and place and turn and snap. That's the way it is. And then you do the same right next to it. Again, kind of finding a sweet spot where it doesn't snap. Perhaps like that. Going to 0 meters. This one can be a bit more tricky, because you really want to get as close to the 90 degrees up there at the top. It can be tricky to get that. Right now I'm lucky. You see I still get the guideline at the bottom. So I'm gonna make sure to click right away now and snap. Because then you get the most similar curves to both roads. Again, make sure you want to change the direction right away by flipping, click and drag. And before we delete this guide road, we're just going to make 2 more roads. And now I'm going to turn the camera around, because I find it works better for me to work this way. We're going to go to simple curve, and then we're going to keep guidelines and 90 degrees. And at this point, yeah, you still have the option of getting a nice starting point, so that's fine. I'm gonna place that, click off all snapping, and now you want to find the middle of the curve that goes from this point to this point, which is roughly here, and then go up to 12.5 meters and try. You can see the distance between the 2 roads now is roughly the same all the way. It varies slightly. At this point you might be able to do a guideline, but you see it snaps out, so I can't really do what I want. Yeah, maybe that's fine. I really wanted it a little bit further out, so I'm turning off guidelines again. So what you can do instead is snap to existing geometry, snap where it creates a line, and then see if you can drag your mouse straight to the side, like so. That's roughly the same point. Then you want to make another friend for this one. Turn snapping on again. And we're lucky we can still snap to a decent placement. Turn it off. Again, find the middle of the curve that goes from this point to this point, which is roughly here. As you can see, the distance is decent. I want to try and turn on snapping here. No, I can still not get that perfect placement, so we're gonna go to existing geometry snap, and then I'm gonna place it here and go straight out. And the reason it looks wonky is because I forgot my height, so move up to 12.5. And this doesn't help me, so I'm gonna go by eye measurement. That's fine as well, at least for me it is. So I'm minding the distance at the bottom down here between the roads, and the distance up here top is roughly the same. And this looks decent. So we're gonna place it here. Good. Now that we made these two, we can help ourselves get rid of some guidelines by deleting this one. And now we have to make a curve that goes out here from these two. At this point, I don't want to rely on guidelines. I want to rely on snap to geometry. I'm gonna go down to 0 and kind of find the spot where this. We could start with this guy first, I guess. And then you want to snap to, if we give these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you want this one to snap to number 5. So turn guidelines on. There we go. Snap, or click and place, and then you want to turn it to where it intersects with this one. Keeping it at 0 meters, place. And then do the same for this one. And then you want to snap this to number 4. And we want to turn this off now because it's creating conflict. So here we are intersecting, and the same again. That's it. And this is 1/4 of, oh, sorry, no, I'm going too fast. So we're gonna make the last two connect here. And we do this by taking it up to 12.5. And we're gonna use the guide points here. Click, turn off guidelines. Again, finding the curve that goes from this point to this point, the middle of it, which is roughly here. And then you can kind of ghost it to see what it's gonna look like once you connect it, to make to see if you want to make changes to the point you just placed here. And I'm finding this is decent. This looks okay. But to get the good placement, you want to turn snap to the existing geometry on and go to this point here, like so. And then you want to make one more that connects to this point. Back to guidelines, place this one, turn guidelines off, place this point, have a look. Does it look nice? I think it does. Snap to geometry, place. And you know what? Now we have 1/4 of a Pinavia. And it looks like this. So at this point, you could delete these to avoid all sorts of additional guidelines popping up. And from here on, it's basically just doing the same thing 3 more times. So, unless something happens along the way, I am gonna just get to it, speed up the footage, and then I'll catch you once we're near the end. Okay. just want to catch you here. As you can see, I'm now getting the issue with all the snapping points popping out. So what I want to do here is that I'm just going to make a road, a little bit of road, and then we're going to move it without snapping turn off. We're going to move it or slide it, sort of, to the side, like so. And then we're going to see, okay, does the next one do the same? Yeah, it does. So we're going to do it again. Slide it over, and again, you can do it as many times as you want, like so. So yeah, just a little bit of a tip. Moving on. So as you saw, I tried to flip the road and I forgot to turn snapping on. So it kind of offset the road a little bit. You can just turn the snapping off again and just move it into place where you want it to be. But that's fixed easily. Moving on. As you saw there, I didn't get a perfect 180-degree angle, and that's because some of these are probably a little bit off, and there's always going to be a little something here and there. But it worked anyway, so you know, if you can live with that little inconsistency, it's not like it's going to be traffic breaking or game breaking or anything. So yeah, well, we're almost done. Just need to connect these few last roads here, and then we're good to go. Then we only need to make the outer lanes, and I'll show that in a moment. Let's turn that off. You know, maybe turn that on actually, turn that off. And then go up to 12.5. Keep snapping on this time. Snapping off, I mean. And then we do that. Let's see if it works with guidelines this time. It doesn't. You're gonna get really good at measuring stuff by eye. Place this, and then go back down to the ground level. Snapping turned off. Find that middle spot. And then kind of line those two up. Like so. And then now we can delete that guide road. Going to ground level, turn snapping on in the guidelines, turn them off again with only geometry because then it snaps to the endpoints. Guidelines on for the placement. Where is it? This is being naughty. So it's in there, but it's really... Let's see if we can do by eye this one, the last one. So I'm aiming for... Oh, there it was. You know, it's weird sometimes, it just has to be turned on and off, and then it kind of finds itself. So that was those two. Make sure to flip those with snapping turn on. And then we're connecting these last four here. 4 points up in 12.5 meters height. We're gonna snap to geometry, turn snapping off. Kind of find the middle point here in this segment, which is there. There you go. This is the Pinavia without the outer lanes. So what I want to tell you now is this is of course made, or it could be made for any amount of highways. So if you have a 3-way, it's pretty simple. You just make another one lane out here just to show you, like this. And then you have to connect to a 3-lane highway here. But in case you want to make it to a 4-lane highway, just put this one instead here at the end. Like this, and then you have 4 lanes. So, it's up to you. Now, I want to try, and we can get into that at the end, but I want to try and make this so I can use 2 lanes here as well, see if that works, how you make that kind of setup. But for now, it's just going to be 1 lane outside here. I just noticed I need to flip these. We're going to do that. And I tried a few times before, and what I found is that I like personally, maybe you don't, maybe you want to do it in another way. There's no set rules, because you can see you can't really follow the road here, or you could, but it's going to be a weird way to drive. So you might want to just go, I want to go like this, flip it kind of out here in a smooth curve. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm gonna use an endpoint to start with, but because we have so many roads, we're gonna run into problems with guidelines here. So maybe do this by eye using the snatch geometry method. And I can't remember if I need the 90 degrees. Let's turn it on and see what happens. It's not gonna make a whole lot of difference, I think. So here, kind of get this distance. And then I want to go up, and this is where it would have been nice with guidelines. But as you can see, 60 meters, and then roughly end up here in between. It doesn't have to be perfect because it depends on how your road looks. But I'm going to go with 60 meters, place my 1 point here, and then I'm going to swing it out, and then I'm going to try and hit 149 meters in length like this. It will be around 133 degrees, depending on your road. But 149 seems to work fine for me. Place that. And then I could just swing it here, but I kind of like making this one a little bit more, structured or strict. So do a straight line here, a straight road. This one I'm going to make 30 meters, and this is where again it would be nice to have just not too many guidelines, but we're gonna kind of eyesight line it up with the road next to it. So go to 50 meters, and then eyesight, does it have to be like maybe 50-40 makes sense, right? No, not completely, to be honest. Like so. Place. It's decent, Don't know why it lands outside. Let's do it again, because I do want it to line up with these two. Oh, that's better. No, it was because... And 51 will do fine in this case. Like so. And then just swing it back to the last piece here. Whoopsie. Remember to flip the roads with snapping on. Like this. I can live with this distance. It's not perfect, but And then continue this process all the way around. And let's just meet up at the end when that is done. Welcome back, and there we have it, a Pinavia. Now, if you're completely comfortable with just hooking this up yourself to, in this case, a 3-way highway, then by all means leave. I hope you enjoyed the little tutorial and found it useful. But if you want help to kind of get an idea on how you can do it, stay put. Let's connect this to a 3-way highway lane, single lane, sorry, word jumble. So what I'm doing in this case is I'm gonna line it up with the middle of the middle road. I don't want too many guidelines going on here. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, but we're gonna make this, just make it 100. Round numbers are fine. Oh, wait. I want to make the distance there we go. So 100 meters is our starting point. Roughly around here. And then just make this, you know, whatever length you want. 100. And then do the same. Now you have this road to help you. So let's see if we can line this up and actually do it the other way. Nah, we're gonna make it the right way. The wrong way, and then we're gonna flip it. Like so. There we go. And then you're gonna grab the single lanes. I'm gonna grab a curve, take off the guidelines. Just keep the existing geometry. Go to the end point, and then go down, say around 65. Flip it in. Flip it in, and then just go in here and grab the endpoint, which is roughly there. And there you have it. Now this is connected. Now it can be a different thing. It doesn't have to be, but sometimes this side gives me trouble because I always love to work this way down instead of this way up, because now I have the measurements, right? So we knew this is going to be 65, and then that makes it easier. So what you want to do if you do it this way, make sure to flip it right away. Otherwise it's going to give you problems. Whoops. And then do the other side, 65. Take it in. And don't mind this. This is visual noise. Just place it here, but flip it right away. As you can see, it grabbed the right lane. And then we have the last one. And if you can try and get in here and grab the middle lane. And then take that up. And as you can see, sometimes it doesn't want to. Sometimes it wants to. Whoops, yeah, but that worked fine, right? So, now that's connected. And there you have it. And you just repeat this process all over, right? And depending on, of course, as you can see, it would have been optimal to come in here and then swing it in like this, right? That feels best somehow. So I could have faced the Pinavia more like this and that way. Now I chose to make it this way. So if you got this far, I mean, find a way to live with it, right? Otherwise, in the beginning, try to find out how your curve, or not your curve, your square, the initial square works in terms of where the exits and entrances are going to be. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and found it useful, and if you did, you know, drop a like, subscribe, follow, whatever. And yeah, I'm gonna try and make this now with more lanes internally and see if I can find a way to make a recipe for that. But for now, I just want to thank you for stopping by and have fun playing the game. And I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.